what is your mission? That's another thing. What is your mission? That's what I think about all the time. What is my mission? What is my mission here? Yeah, I'm supposed to impact, I'm supposed to influence, I'm supposed to share my understanding, my experience to allow others to experience this life that we know on earth, right?
Yeah.
As we think, this is another understanding too, and I'm coming around. We think balance is the truth, but it's counterbalance. Because none of these billionaires, none of these multimillionaires has got balance. A lot of it's off balance. You see what I'm saying? Counterbalance. I would use counterbalance instead of balance.
Yeah.
Use counterbalance, the additive to understanding what's going on when you applying faith, or when you
Uh-huh.
using that belief, or when you using that trust because you're trusting in your company, or you're trusting in that system that you created that's actually
Mm-hmm.
going to be successful.
Nate Sarantino back with another episode of the Savior Services podcast. And today I have Heru, the modern monk, with me. And I'm super excited to get going with this. Thank you for joining, Heru.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for allowing me to come on your platform and actually, share some views, share some viewpoints, and I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, we actually have a common friend, Raul, who brought us together, and I just want to
Yes,
shout out Raul real quick for bringing
yes,
me and you together. It's awesome when I get to meet like-minded individuals. I was able to listen to a couple of your other podcasts that you sent over to me before
nice.
we did this one, and it gave me a taste of who you are as a person, and I think we see the world in a very similar perspective.
I
And
can agree.
I'm
I agree
excited
with
to
that.
see where this goes.
Yes, sir.
So feel free to introduce yourself. Tell my audience a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you got here, and we'll move from there.
Yeah, so some call me Heru, the modern monk. Been around this block for a while. Uh, Interesting enough, I do focus on personal training or life coaching, um, and I really particularly dive into or specialize with men. Men I kind of cater to understanding of opening the mind, being more emotion, utilizing your emotions, utilizing your mental work, utilizing your physical aspect overall your well-being. So that's what I focus on. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I don't even put a number on it because I've been working with clients throughout the years, having fun, sharing ideas, learning new things, um, pushing pushing people to higher limits as well. Shout out to my girlfriend. Just let her know that it's all love, and her support and whatnot. So just kind of moving as life goes. We've been having a pretty hectic year, if you want to call this year hectic with all the different traumas and dramas going on. But other than that, I've been, you know, looking more positive, seeing positive results, especially with my clients and customers, whatnot, and really wanted to take it to another level this coming year, 2025. That's really what I'm excited for.
Nice, that's so awesome. So you are, to get to the basics, your main thing right now is like fitness and like life coaching. What got you into that in the first place? Like, how did you figure out this passion for like self-improvement in this physical plane, and then I assume also in the mental plane because of the life coaching?
For sure. So what really speaks to me a lot is really going into your spiritual understanding, who you are, what you're
Hmm.
becoming. And that really starts with personal development or personal growth. And you can't do that with other people, if that makes sense. You got to do that within yourself. That's one of
I
the
agree.
things I think, yeah, one of the issues that really I'm very passionate about when it comes to like spirituality, even though it has been changing throughout the years as I grow more and more and get more understanding of this life and what type of lifestyle I want to build. Um, and I noticed that as time goes on, so in my younger years, I was hungry. I was an athlete growing up. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? High
Yeah.
school, college, whatnot. And athleticism was like where you felt whole. That was like where you felt like you were the man, you were the woman, however you put it into perspective. But that's where I felt where my strongest strength was within my abilities. You know what I'm saying? And you utilize that with your spirit as well. Where are my abilities? How can I push the envelope further with my abilities within myself, mentally, physically, emotionally, in all aspects,
Hmm.
financially, So this is where I've been, as I was just reflecting just earlier today. I seen an article, a high school article I had done on me years ago,
Hmm.
and it really brought back a lot of memories. Um, Remind you, it's been 30 years since I've been out of high school. So it's kind of like, okay, time to grow up. And then I look back on the article. I was looking back on the article, and it was interesting because it was some of the things that I was doing back then that I'm still doing that actually worked, in growing and having integrity, you know what I'm saying? Having ambition,
Hmm.
having an understanding of setting goals where you want to be, what you want to do, especially when it comes to physical, mentally, spiritual, financially. It all works in its place. It all fits its place. So that's basically what was kind of interesting, just reflecting back on that and thinking about, okay, what are the steps I have taken throughout the years? Because I have changed, even my eating habits have changed, all these things. So a lot of I would say my ambition was to be able to better myself. How can I grow better? How can I become a better man? How can I become a better husband or a better boyfriend, or, you know what I'm saying? A better brother, a better uncle. This has always been something that's been within me. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And that's one of
Yeah.
the elements that it kind of been pushing me, that ambition. They say ambition can kill a lot of people too. But then when you take it in a more higher perspective, look at all the great people that we study on, or who has been successful. They all had ambition, right?
Yeah, I
and it,
agree.
you know what I'm saying? And I think it all comes to an end to an extent if it's very over ambitious. I've been watching lately, me and my mate, we've been watching the Vikings, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the setup and whatnot, but one of the things was, you notice a lot of the brothers in there, even the sisters in there, they were willing to do whatever it takes to become the king or the queen or person in charge. And it's kind of
Hmm.
funny because they all end up dying or getting
Hmm.
killed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being over ambitious, if that makes sense. But I think it has a part. I think it has its play. You know,
Yeah,
it
a
has,
100%.
you know,
So,
if that makes sense.
yeah, it does. It's very interesting. I haven't talked to anyone about over ambition, and I've always been a very ambitious person where I have had all these different companies in mind that I want to create for whatever it might be. One for like based on mushrooms, psychedelic and non-psychedelic, just to
Right,
help people show people the benefits of them. Do like psychotherapies while also doing nootropics and all these
right,
different supplements, and also like the life coaching. I also am 22 years old, so I came up with a lot of these ideas when I was 19, 20 years old. And now
no,
I've only had 2 years to work, and it's been incredible. I learned very quickly, and I figured out that the best way to really concrete your learnings is to teach them to other people.
right,
And
right, right. Duplicate yourself, indeed.
exactly. So I've been focused on that, and I think that's what you were getting to with your fitness and your company for training is based on what worked for you. That's what you started helping other people with. Whereas like now you're concreting even more what you have, and you're spreading it out because you know how much it works.
Right, right. And one of the, we got billions of people on this plane, and it's interesting too, because even when you're talking like steroids, for example,
Hmm.
a lot of people, you might have your negatives, your whatever issues you may have about what steroids can do and will do in After Effects and whatever the case may be. But one of the things people really don't realize, you know, everything works, right?
Yeah, I
when,
agree.
when you put it in perspective, everything works. But then at the same time, we have a tendency to abuse things. You see what I'm
True.
saying?
Yeah,
Right?
very true.
So this is these are certain things like when you're learning, obviously, you're learning to learn. Everything's a lesson, right? Life is a lesson. And certain pillars are certain, I guess, steps are going to be some boundaries, right? And these are things that I think we really don't think about, especially when we're talking about being productivity, having productivity, right? Or pursuing that learning issue, what you're working with. Right now, I'm currently working on speaking Spanish, right? So
Hmm.
I've been taking a regiment, and I'm just using all this is going to come around in circle to get to what we're actually talking about. Because a lot of things take patience, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of things we have to get rid of the distractions. And there's so many distractions now. That's what's crazy. Thank you for doing what you're doing at 19, setting that seed and actually still mentoring that seed that you set, right? At 19, 20, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, these are certain things that you gotta get clarity on, right? We have to get some clarity on. We have to get rid of all the distractions because one thing I noticed with this new technology, it causes the distraction, right? You're tasking,
Hmm.
you're multitasking, trying to do 20 things at one time, but you're trying to write, you're trying to write a paragraph over here or trying to write this idea down, but you're so distracted by all these other elements going on around you where you're not focusing. And what's interesting too, focusing is not, you don't need that much time to focus. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You feel what I'm saying? Even 5 minutes when you're talking about really focusing on, okay, what concept do I want to come with or brainstorming for 5 minutes? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I hear you 100%, and it's super influential what distractions can do to someone. I had a TikTok that I recorded. It was one of the first ones I published, and
Okay.
it was about how people are addicted to distractions, whether
Big
it's
time.
it could be anything at this point, but like people it's not that they have a lack of focus, they just have a they're addicted to too many different things, and
Right.
then all of a sudden you're scatterbrained. But focus has never really changed. It's just they have too many things going on, so they're trying to focus on too many things. If you
Right.
showed them here's how to cut out distractions, their focus would never change. It's not like the focus is gone. And it's a really different perspective to take because everyone thinks they lack focus, but they don't. It's they just have too many things going on in their life and they need to simplify their life down, like you were saying earlier.
Right. Right. And simplify. That's the key thing. Simplify the process. Focus on one point, focus on one target, focus on one goal. That goal for the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks, whatever the case may be. Some cases they say in 21 days to be exact, focus
Yeah.
on that particular item or particular project, till it actually become a habit. And I'm not going to be sitting here throwing all these metaphors and this and that. And I don't mean to be coming off like that, but I
Uh-huh.
want to be able to be clear with people. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Be
100%.
clear because that's really when you start simplifying your life, even from basics, food eating. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
having all this variety. Have the things that your needs, but then at the same time have the things that may supplement here and there. But at the
Yeah.
same time, simplify your life. That's really where it comes down to.
Oh, 100%. And going off of what you just said, when it comes to like food, nutrition, and stuff like that, it doesn't take a lot to stay alive. I
No.
always looked to plants and to trees, and I was like, okay, they need like really simple stuff. They need first and foremost sunlight, then they need the carbon dioxide where we need oxygen, and
Right.
then they need water, and then they need the nutrients in the soil, which contains the minerals that they
Right.
pull up with the water.
Right.
And if humans simplified the stuff we put in our body wouldn't spend so much time organizing everything and sorting through it. Like our kidneys are in overdrive, our liver is in overdrive, and this is
Right.
why people's bodies fail them so young, because they're working so hard to sort through all these different like man-made
Chemical.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we
Chemicals. Yeah.
and
You're right.
it's if you just ate like naturally, like I only like to put things that are from the earth on my body, whether it be plants, fruits, or animals, because the animals most of the time, as long as they're like ethically produced, it's like just let them do their thing. Like cows were made to eat grass. Like you don't need to
Right.
force feed.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's like chickens were made to just like walk on a pasture and like peck at some insects and eat some grass. Like just let them do their thing. And then when their time like comes, like like yeah, I got a good amount of eggs, and like now I'm gonna eat this chicken, and like you let the cycle just continue.
Right.
It's
Echo of life.
yeah, exactly. Like I just everything needs to be natural and it needs to be flowing. Like the universe has a flow to it, and you can't force that flow, either slow it down or speed it up. It's just the river is gonna run,
Right.
and
Regardless. Yeah.
exactly. And you gotta go with it sometimes. You gotta work with it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I agree with that because I mean, a lot of us, our pools or our rivers are blocked. A lot of our rivers are blocked. Mentally, physically, spiritually, financially.
Mhm.
And it's time to start unblocking them, start making a passageway. So people can really see, not just you can see, but you can see beyond with your pineal
Yeah,
gland, however you
yeah.
want to see it with the third eye, because there's so much opportunity out here, but you have to create the opportunity too. Don't take me
Hmm.
wrong. You got a lot of people who got to participate too, because it is your reality, right? Your reality or your perspective, how you perceive things, because that's another
Hmm.
duality too, perceive and perspective aspect. Matter of fact, I wrote an article about that a couple last year. Matter of fact, last year, but that
About
is
the difference between
interesting.
perspective and perception, or
Yeah, yeah.
perspective and
The
perceive.
verse, how they're totally different viewpoints, even meanings, right? Because a lot of
Uh-huh.
things we kind of stack on each other, where it's like, oh, that means the same thing. No, not necessarily. It's more of a esoteric kind of
Hmm.
connection to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. And it's funny because me and my friend were just talking about this with the words faith, belief, and trust.
Nice.
And it's like each one they all they all go like hand in hand, but none of them, they're all different meanings when it comes down to it. Like to have faith versus to believe in something is
Right,
different. And
right, right.
it's because this is one of those personally I was like misconceiving it, and I didn't have it I wasn't internalizing it the right way, and my friend
Right.
explained it to me, and I was like, oh, I got you. Like it's like there's levels to it. And
Right. Big time. I agree with that. I love what Napoleon Hill talks about when he say applied faith. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Applied faith. That's totally different from just faith itself.
mm-hmm,
Because you put an action to that faith, therefore creating that belief that you can do what you can do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Or
I hear you.
cannot do.
Yeah, 100%. It's very much they're very much connected. Like I have faith in a higher power I call God. I believe in myself, but and I trust other people. Like you have to trust in people to do their part. Like you knew nothing. I like to live by this saying, nothing great has ever been built alone, and the greatest things take at least 3 years. Like
Oh, big
nothing.
time.
It's
Takes time.
yeah, I when someone tells me they're expecting results within a year, 2 years, like you if you're expecting results before a year, you don't understand that it's gonna be like pretty small. Like if you
Right.
want something to actually grow and exist for years to come, it's gonna take like a minimum of 3 years of consistent effort. And then
I
even
can agree
then,
with that. 3 to 5
it's
years, yeah, I can agree with that.
yeah.
One of the other things, I mean, to be on a more corporate mentality. It's interesting too, seeing some of these businesses that's been around for years and years, but noticing that they're not adjusting to the culture, to
Uh-huh.
the new culture, and therefore they're getting left behind. When you're talking Radio Shack and all these older models that used to exist no longer around. They may be online, but barely getting by. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and we noticed, like I said, because Amazon's been taking out a lot of big corporations, literally taking them out of
Yeah.
business. And I've been seeing this over the years. Over the years, I've been noticing a lot of these companies are going bye, and especially with the social media. That's one of the other elements. A
Yeah.
group of brothers of mine, Smokey and um, Radio Ray um, Entertainment, a couple of gentlemen work in the cannabis industry, and we've been working together, and we're working on some projects currently, but we noticed some things too with the industry, the cannabis industry in itself, just
Yeah.
how it has been transforming to something else, something that we're not able to recognize. This is what I've been experiencing throughout the industry too as well. But they're coming in, and you have these billionaires coming in as well, but they don't understand the business. I don't think they understand the business
Mm-hmm.
and understanding their clients, our customer, their relationship, what they want to see, how they want to go about these certain issues when it comes to recreation, when it comes to medical, what other
Uh-huh.
opportunities exist. So it's been a little fading out with the industry. This is just my take on some things. Yeah, you're in California. You got some opportunity there.
Yeah.
I'm out here in Denver. We got some opportunity out here, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a different ball game from when it first kind of up and rolling. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
saying?
even
This,
know when it
yeah,
first came up. I don't know when, I can't even remember. Like California and Colorado were two of the first states to legalize
right.
it.
20,
I don't.
2011, 2011. That's when I think here, Denver, and
Wow.
then follow year 2012. It might have been earlier than that, a little earlier than that. But
Wow.
I know I've been to all the states. I've been to all the cannabis states, not the
Mm-hmm.
current ones, but the main. At the time, it was five
Yeah.
around the country. Now it's a little more than that. It's probably maybe 15 now, 15 states that actually incorporate, recreational, but not trying to
Mm-hmm.
get off subject. But
Yeah.
what I noticed with that corporate industry, it has been changing obviously in the last, 20 years. Yeah, last 20 years. You figure last 20 years, it's been changing. So certain things been going, not seem like it's not going the right direction, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
What
Kind
do
of
you?
like this election.
So it's like it's I want to bring it to culture and then internally pivoting like
Okay.
your beliefs where like how do you line up with the culture as a person being a part of that culture, because it is in fact the first it's the leadership that organizes and builds it, and
Yes.
then it's
Yeah.
the people who are participating in the culture. And when you get into these big corporations where you have like probably thousands of employees, like you look at something like Amazon,
Right.
where
Right.
like I applied to, I think it was FedEx or UPS to work in a warehouse, and I didn't even make it out of orientation because I was like, dude, this
Right.
place is gonna be terrible. Why am I even here? Like I
Right.
left after like 2 hours, and I was like, yeah, this is a waste of my time.
Right. Right. Right.
It's culture, like it really is like I the things that keep people at a business is culture, benefits, and pay. And
Yeah.
that's how you retain employees. You either they need to love their job, they need to love the benefits they get at their job, or they need to just really need the money.
And see, and this is a thing I wanted to ask you too, as a young brother,
Yeah.
you know, taking advantage of being an entrepreneur, I would
Hmm.
say, what if, just don't take me wrong.
I won't.
We need money, right? I
Hmm.
agree. We need money, but how can you benefit, or what can you do to raise the funds, but actually do the things you love doing? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great question because I've struggled with this for years now because of the alignment in my life that I already have and I've had like when I was 18, I really dived into my passion for mental health, psychedelics, and how to use them together. Like where do you draw the line between having fun and using something like
Right,
psilocybin as a
right, right,
tool instead of just a drug? Because
right,
there's a difference when you take um I don't know, anything at this point like can be consumed as a drug versus something that's consumed as a medicine or you're using it as a tool to make you better. And I came to the realization I want to work with this. I had a vision, and then I
right,
realized, well, my vision is not accepted by society yet. It's like the
right,
first
right.
people who were you're in the cannabis industry, like when cannabis wasn't recreation and it wasn't even medicalized yet,
Right,
because
right, right.
you have decades on it. So you've been around this cannabis industry way longer than I have, and you got to see it evolve from nothing to medical to recreational, and now I feel like I'm going to be able to see that same thing, but with psychedelics. And
Right, right. And you are. I know because I know in Denver here we got the it's definitely legal as far as shrooms,
uh-huh,
mushrooms and whatnot.
yeah,
Yeah, so you can grow
exactly.
them. Yeah, you can grow them now, and now they're using them more for municipal aspect of, you know, combating ADD and all I can't even pronounce the
ADHD, no
yeah
worries.
ADHD and you
It
know
definitely, I used it for that
certain
same
issues that
purpose.
people have, yeah, even like meth problems, combating that.
Hmm.
And so I applaud them on that. I applaud them on that. But I'm glad you actually seeing, you have the vision. That's
Hmm.
really the key thing. You have the vision, and if you keep that vision sparking, you know what I'm saying, and taking the little steps necessary to keep it glowing, if that makes sense, to keep
Yeah,
it
I hear you.
shining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you need that
you got
ember.
to keep on it. You got to keep maturing. Yeah, you got to keep mentoring.
Hmm.
You got to keep working it out, because that's really what key thing. That's what I can say too, far as my physicality or my fitness. I've been staying on fitness since I was a little kid, right?
Hmm.
Since high school or college, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I got out of position for a minute. I was up to 190 some pounds before, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But at the same time, it was always about monitoring, understanding, loving myself. How can I
Hmm.
be the fittest person? How can I be the healthiest person? And I practiced vegetarianism for over 20 years. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of things. Don't take me wrong. I noticed a lot of things when I came back on meat. I noticed a whole difference physiology wise. My body
Hmm.
was just performing a lot better, looking a lot better, keeping the weight that I want to keep on my body. I'm not a
Hmm.
big guy. I'm, range from 160 to 150. You feel what I'm saying? But at the same
Yeah.
time, these are the things that's been keeping me, far as keeping me straight when it comes to my health and fitness, you know,
Hmm.
working on my finances, getting that straight as we speak.
Yeah. Right now it sounds like to you, and I'm in the same position where it's like you want to work on each thing a little bit so you have balance in all the different
Right,
areas of life. Whether I know you have your spiritual balance, your mental balance, your physical balance, and now for me too, I when I moved out to LA, I said I'm gonna, like, I had a foundation for my business out in New Hampshire, and I said I'm gonna build my business and actually start making some real money with it here. And
right.
I had a meeting with a client the other day, and things are going great. I'm going to keep meeting more clients and keep building my client list up. And I want to start using my podcast more as almost a source for marketing, where
It
I
is
can
a
show
resource, guaranteed.
exactly.
It is a resource. It's a resource, and definitely, over all the interviews you're learning.
Hmm.
You're learning, you gathering information, but then at the same time, it's time to organize that information. Like they say, knowledge is power, but knowledge is power when it's systemized, when it's
Yeah, it's
organized.
applied.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you can apply it slowly but surely. But like you said, as you learning, you know what I'm saying? What you learn and you apply it to other people, giving it to other people, the format, therefore personal training, therefore coaching, whatever genre you want to throw it in. But it all makes sense when the long term, long range out. Yeah, long range, long term. You know, it
Hmm.
all comes together, starts
Yeah.
coming together.
Yeah, well, something I've always been like a long-term thinker, big picture person. So I when I first figured out like my vision for like my company based on like mushrooms and what I wanted to do with it, I was like, okay, how do I get there without following like whatever? There's like a big truck driving by. I'm gonna wait till it's past.
It's all good, as long as he ain't driving in there.
He was just turning around. I'll have my editor cut that out. Um, so so what I was saying, I have this vision for using mushrooms, and it's a very long-term plan. Like we're talking like 30, 40, 50 years, and I'm
Wow.
only in my 20s, and
Right.
I see where it's going to go. But this is the big but. What foundation do I need, and how can I build my name and a brand now that will help build that in the future? So I created Savior Services as like a life coaching company,
Right.
and to give me the experience I need for people to have trust in my reputation when it comes to doing something that could transform your life in a single session. And now it's a process of building my name, building my brand, and making the connections in the industries, especially when it comes to the cannabis industry. I see a
Right.
lot of parallels between that and what will be the psychedelic
For
industry.
sure. For sure. It's there. I mean, cannabis is healing people. It's helping assist to healing people. Let's say it that way. Even
Exactly.
even with shrooms and whatnot, because I'm an advocate of all that too. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm in holistic medicine. You know, I'm alternatives. I use alternatives. I love
Same
bee
here.
venom. I'm a big stem cell man. You know what I'm saying? I even,
Yeah.
for those who are serious about, living a long-term lifestyle, keep it real with you. That's really what I want to master within myself. And that's what I'm doing with steps every day. Like, for example, every month, I usually do a three-day fast, 3-day water fast. And I usually
Hmm.
do 15 days. Well, so 12 of those days I do intermittent fasting just to kind of keep some things together as far as the body work, making sure the
Yeah.
body is there, right? The
Uh-huh.
mind is there, the clarity, the focus, getting rid of the caffeine, the certain things that allow you to process or to move forward within you, particularly.
Yeah.
Therefore, your other arrangements or your other relationships will start living in harmony.
Yeah, well, it's what you just said is a perfect example of the law of correspondence, where what's
Yes.
going on internally is going to be projected externally. So if you just start working on that internal self, it's like everything you put in your body physically in the form of food and water is going to end up being your mind, because that's
Right.
how your mind is going to be performing, or your mental is going to be performing. It all this keeps stacking on each other, and then your spirit will get down if you don't treat your physical body right, because it will be like, yo, I don't want to be in this trash body. Like, why did you
Right.
fill me with all this stuff? And that's how people,
Right.
they get depressed. Depression is your soul being like, yo, like
Rest.
I need to be in a better area. Like, this
Right.
body is
Right.
it.
Environment. Yeah. Your
Hmm.
environment is definitely key. That's
Oh,
definitely
100%.
key. And
Yeah.
I do get like, even for example, a lot of us don't really think about it, but detoxing is probably, and I'm talking detoxing, you know, your computer, detoxing your phone, detoxing yourself, detoxing within the food. Just stop eating.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, 100%.
you notice your body be more forgiving. You're more forgiving. You're actually able to think clearly. You know what I'm saying? That's when your body's clear and you don't, because one of the things I think what food is doing, the processed food, however chemicals, whatever the chemicals is doing, the chemicals make you wanna attract distractions, if that makes sense. So all that dopamine, all that, you know what I'm saying? All that
Yeah.
dopamine rush, it makes you wanna, okay, I gotta do this. Can I finish this? Let me do this real quick. Let me get this
Hmm.
in, boom, boom, boom. And I notice our society has changed, the culture has changed. Because brother, I'm coming from an era where we didn't have cell phones. You had to
Hmm.
go to your home phone, dial the
Yeah.
number. You had to know the number. You see what I'm saying? Now everything is so, and I'm not knocking this. Technology is good to an extent. Technology has its place, right?
Hmm.
So I support all that, but then at the same time, I support having an understanding of, okay, we need to clear this up a little bit, clear what's up
Hmm.
in here. That's why I think a lot of the mental issues, our mental health is very jeopardized in today's society,
I agree.
big time, big time.
Yeah. I'm right there with you with the technology thing and how I have a course I've made called the Free Thinkers Emergence Program, and I think it's like the first section of the mindfulness portion, or the first lesson. I talk about media attention and focus, where like how is the media taking your attention? What kind of attention does it need, and what are you actually following on the
Right,
media's, like
right,
what are you putting into your body when it comes into the form of the content that you're absorbing and watching and feeding yourself? Because that's going to affect you just as much as the people you hang around. Perhaps it's going to
right,
affect you more because that you spend more time focused on that than in the real world, like me and you having this
right, right,
conversation
right,
right now. I
right.
mean, this is a perfect example of how technology can be used in a great way versus when I see someone who's been bullied on the internet and then they go shoot up a school. That's the worst case scenario
Right,
almost.
right.
Like it's definitely one of them. Like you can see how the spectrum is just so broad, and the main thing we need right now is for like the teachers of society, whether that be parents or like actual school
Yeah, I
teachers
remember
or
you
like,
mentioning that. Yeah, I mean, you
yeah,
mentioned
like
that on your
pastors,
last show.
anything. We need all these people to be teaching the children how they use technology in the first place, how they use it for good, with good intention for one another,
Right,
and
right.
it's just
See, and
it's the
I
key.
think that's where I think that's where the rubber meets the road too, because we're working with these systems, like these school systems, these
Mhm.
curriculums that are set up to keep you distracted, keep you in a mentality where you're not really learning anything. You're memorizing stuff, but the memorizing is not, the memories are not solid. Let me
Yeah,
say it
a
that
hundred
way.
percent.
They're not
But
solid. They're not solid. They're not copacetic. They're not reality. You know, and
mhm.
I think we do have forums that's actually changing that perspective. Kind of giving
Mhm.
you more. I do, for example, we might not agree with Elon Musk, the things and ideas he's coming across with, right? Oh, running the
Mhm.
world, doing all this, control the world, whatever.
Yeah.
Some people we can agree and some we disagree, but at the same time, one thing I got to give him respect for is that he's pushing the envelope.
I
You see
agree.
what I'm saying? That's the difference. I mean, look what he's doing with the electric cars, even though we had electric cars in the 30s, right? But at the
Mhm.
same time, it's an understanding, like, who's what is your mission? That's another thing. What is your mission? That's what I think about all the time. What is my mission? What is my mission here? Yeah, I'm supposed to impact, I'm supposed to influence, I'm supposed to share my understanding, my experience, to allow others to experience this life that we know on earth, right?
Yeah.
As we think, this is another understanding too, and I'm coming around. We think balance is the truth, but it's counterbalance. Because none of these billionaires, none of these multimillionaires has got balance. A lot of it's off balance. You see what I'm saying? Counterbalance. I would use counterbalance instead of balance.
Yeah.
Use counterbalance, the additive to understanding what's going on when you applying faith. or when you're
Uh-huh.
using that belief, or when you're using that trust because you're trusting in your company, or you're trusting in that system that you created that's actually
Mm-hmm.
going to be successful, you know,
Yeah.
and you keep it open so you can adjust to whatever you need to adjust to. That's what's the benefit about being an entrepreneur is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you
I
got the
do.
ability to adjust and move and do what you got to do, adapt. You know, that's one of the signature reasons. And appreciate you for doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you. Same to you, dude. You're definitely you're out here creating a massive impact on people. And I just posted I didn't just post it. I was actually just editing a reel or a yeah, I say a reel, but it was like a short, and it was just about how all it takes is one person to impact one person, and then it might be that person who spreads it, the
Well,
message.
right,
It,
right,
it
right,
and it's you don't know who you're gonna meet or who they know and what they resonate with, and you might say something that this like touches a chord on someone, or it's on that frequency that they can have it just resonate out exponentially, and it's just there's so many ways to put it, and you realize that everything you say matters, everything you do
right,
matters, and
right,
you
right.
need to be intentional with how you work with the world around you.
But matter of fact, speaking of that, everything matters. That particular statement comes from Walter Russell or Russell Walter,
Mm-hmm.
a gentleman yeah, matter of fact, Terrence Howard actually talked about him too, Walter Russell, because he was an interesting gentleman back in the early 1900s. You know, him and
Mm-hmm.
his wife, to be exact. And you know what? One thing I do respect too, when you're talking like personal development or personal growth, that industry, self help, that industry in general, it
Mm-hmm.
does have its place. One of the things I think has been doing, it's been too much. I guess we haven't simplified the knowledge like they
Mm-hmm.
did back in the day. They simplified it real simple. Do this, do this, do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we got too much, it's too much word play. You know, the words are confusing you. You know, you might put in two words that are actually the same phrase or the same action. Let me say it like that,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. So that's one
Yeah.
thing I do respect about the old. I'm talking like prior from the 19 from I say 1980s and down and
Yeah.
back.
Well, I always refer back to the Hermetic principles, and I mean this
Right.
is like the
Yeah.
origins of
The
like
value.
everything. Like it's like this is how everything works, and that's why the first section of my program is it goes over universal laws, including the Hermetic principles, and
Right.
then I talk about like how there is a law of balance. Everything is going to go back into a unison of balance, where
Right.
it's an ebb
Right.
and flow, and
Controlled
then
chaos.
it's like everything there's a law of oneness that governs the law of
Right.
balance, and then
Right.
at the truth above oneness is the law of truth, where the truth will always prevail. Like the truth will always come out, it will always be at the top. And when you have truth, you or more like when you have a source of light, you get to see the truth. Wherever there is light, you see the truth. Like nothing can
Right.
hide from the light, and that's why it's why when I'm talking to people, I love when my guests can be completely transparent about themselves, because it allows me to have the most authentic conversation, therefore raising both
Right.
of our vibrations, therefore allowing us to provide the maximum amount of truth and light to the world around us, where this is actually how we create an impact, when we don't suppress our own feelings, our
Agree.
own thoughts.
Agree. You know, and what that's one thing too, even with the truth being said throughout this year, you know, the truths of what actually gonna conspire throughout our
Mm-hmm.
so-called history, you know. And what's interesting about it, it is a perspective, how you interpret it, how I interpret it, how they interpret it, yada yada yada, is definitely understanding. But like you said, the more simplified we can make the streaming process, the better,
Mm-hmm.
you
I
know,
agree.
because we put in too much, even with my courses now, and I got very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Got
You
very
have to.
simple, and I see better results. You know, my customers are seeing, or my clients are seeing better results and
That's awesome.
faster results, you know, because I mean, that's one of the, I think that's one of the caveats I think we see with a lot of these. If you're studying other courses and whatnot, you see a lot of this confusion information. Why would you put this in there? This is not effective till later on in the process.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the basics if you was, you know, learning how to write
Yeah,
ABCs, get your ABCs down. Then you know how to
exactly.
put words to phrases, yada, yada, yada. And you keep on letters to phrases and keep it moving, you know, because it is
Yeah.
a step. I think that's the problem. And I think you have to redo that. You have to restart that after you graduate high school. You got to
Hmm.
restart. You got to start from kindergarten again and develop that mentality, you know, that 33 degrees.
Yeah. Well, it's I like to think of it this way. Like you know, there's most likely nobody actually knows much about themselves while they're going through that that pre-K through 12th grade, and from until like you're at until you're at like the age of to like 20 to 25, that's when you start to understand yourself and who
Realize.
you are and like what makes you do the things you do, what makes you tick, what are those what's your dark and what's your light, and how can you control both of them to
Right,
use it to better people. Um Me and my friend talk about this a lot. There are no good and bad people. There's only good and bad decisions,
right.
and
I agree.
you can use good to do bad, and you can use bad to do good. So it's all it, and we just talked about earlier where a lot of times truth comes down to perspective, where your perspective becomes your truth. And this is why perspective truly is the like one of the absolutes of life, where the whatever angle you want to approach a situation is going to become your truth, and that goes hand in hand with the first hermetic principle, the law of mentalism, where the universe is mental. You create everything of your reality in your head, and you determine the meaning of those things in your head. Someone or something can be its authentic self, and you can allow that to, you can place that wherever you want in your life.
Right, right, right. And using it and being able to use it correctly too, like you said. Because I mean, I know the Kabbalion or the principles, the Hermetic principles are definitely on point. And you can kind of see how the Stoicism connect with it too. That's one of the
100%.
things. Yeah, that's one of the things I've been kind of diving into a little bit more, how they interconnect. You know, because
Hmm.
Stoicism is pretty much the knowledge. I mean, don't take me wrong, not knocking credit from Marcus Aurelius or, you know, any of the Stoics of the day, but you
Yep.
know they had the time to study the Hermetic principles and come up with different phrases and understandings of where, you know, where this knowledge has derived from or
Hmm.
created from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And I actually just brought up stoicism to my to one of my clients, and I said, "Yo, you should check this out. It might help you deal with some of these things you're going through."
It
And
definitely will.
it's one of those philosophies for life that you don't need to adopt all of it, but if you just take bits and pieces, like for me, the main thing is I determine the meaning of the things in my life. And
Right,
if I
right.
choose what I allow to affect me and how I allow it to affect me. And
Yes.
that is one of the most powerful things you can do to empower yourself.
Agree, agree, agree. Yes, yes, because it's definitely there. Like I said, it's principles in life. I just finished up a book. I'm working on it currently, but working on this book called Confessions of the Mind of an Athlete.
I like that.
And it basically goes into more of the subconscious understanding what you're actually working with. What are the principles? You know, ambition, you know, integrity, you know, certain values that you have within yourself, but these values are principles in life, right? These
Hmm.
values are principles in life. And you've seen it. What's crazy too, because as you get older, just take this advice from me. If you don't get nothing else from me on this video, take this.
Thank you.
As you get older, you're going to realize how all everything really don't, it matters, but it doesn't matter to a point where it's like, okay, I was responding like that. See what I'm saying? Where you can simplify. You don't have to respond like you said earlier. You don't have to go off. You don't have to take it as a negative. You don't have to, you see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You can take it as a positive. What can this lesson I learned from this lesson? What can I do to take it to the next level or not attract that issue anymore?
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? That's
that's
one
been one of the
thing,
big things for me lately. What you just said.
because that's definitely something I think we don't, especially as a younger generation, because I'm kind of at awe listening to my younger generation, even though I think it's my fault because we're the teachers, right? We're the
Mhm.
teachers at first, we're the parents, right? But we're not dropping the seeds, we're not dropping the jewels, the necessary jewels on our children to benefit these particular um, opportunities. And if you want to call America the greatest, so be it. But I think it's a it's a perspective too, because
Mhm.
some people are not living that great life. Don't take me wrong. You got a lot of people who are, and you got a lot of people who are not. But then at the
Yeah,
same time, have you experienced anything outside of here that may benefit you? But they might have some crazy laws and whatnot, but that might benefit you. You feel where I'm coming from?
I
Oh, I
do.
got freedom of speech, but how many people are actually talking? How many people are actually, podcasting,
Yeah,
telling their viewpoints? You see what I'm saying?
yeah, 100%. And it, I agree with basically everything you just said. It's you're hitting the nail on the head right now.
Because it really comes down. I've noticed this more and more, and as I'm creating more courses and developing more opportunities for other men to actually take more control or take more responsibility, and accountability, it's
Mhm.
like, look, you have to have to take into account, especially if you want to live a long life. You're going to experience almost everything. Like, who would even thought, this is just a thought, who would have thought it would be in a black president or any other than white president in the
Mhm.
office here? Think
No
about
one.
that. I
No
live,
one.
yeah, I lived through that. We lived through that, we experienced that. That's totally different than actually dreaming of something, this, that, and a third. No, we lived it. So here's the experience. I want to share my experience with you so you can navigate this plane, what we call Earth, right?
Hmm.
And we know, if you're not down with this, whatever, no
Very
disrespect.
open minded. No worries.
Okay, reincarnation. I think we do reincarnate. I think we've been here. Our
I agree.
souls come and go. It comes and go. And we know when the time is going to come. We know when the time is going to go. You know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying? So the long as you experiencing these particular issues and pandemics and plamidemics and all these other different forms of
Hmm.
constructive chaos. Let me say it
Hmm.
that way, because Mother Earth has done what she has done for millions and billions and trillions of years, right?
Hmm.
The only thing change is our understanding changing. We have that ability to question things, right?
Yeah.
So,
We also we have the ability to suppress ourselves, which is
right,
maybe our greatest weakness or our greatest like fallback.
right. I agree with that. That's definitely, it's up there. I can say that it's up there. It's
Because
definitely up there because we have, like I said, we have the ability to engage or not to engage. That's why it's
hmm
so interesting when you look at, okay, even when you're looking at the different philosophy of Darwin and
hmm
all these different perspectives, because that's basically what it is: philosophies, perspective. I'm reading a good book right now, and I was kind of surprised, but this book right here,
hmm
How to Think About Exercise, is interesting because what he has created is a philosophy behind exercise, right?
hmm
So
hmm
what I wanted to pinpoint earlier today or earlier in this broadcast is this: what do your mental mentality of training look like?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? Your exercise regimen plays a part in your lifestyle,
Oh, 100%.
right? Okay, so you agree with that.
I
Now,
do.
this is now a lot of us, we're very, don't take me wrong. Like I said, there's billions of people on this plane, but we navigate in some effed up situations, right? We
Mhm.
put ourselves in these environments knowing we should be outside of these environments if they're bringing all this negative, this drama, this trauma against us. Even
Mm-hmm.
I would even say with the particular school system that's in place, that we take our public schools, we take our children to these public schools in these environments that are not even positive, as much positive as it was back in the earlier days. I would say I would even go back in the 50s, take it back then, when the environment was a lot more positive. Yeah, so-called we had slaves, so-called certain parameters was up, but I think it was
Mm-hmm.
more conducive to learning. You learned, you understand, and it wasn't no memorize this, memorize that. That came into the place when your boy, or prior to him, let me say it like this, prior to the 50s, you had Rockefeller that instituted all these different forms,
Yep.
educational forms and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is what I want, boom, boom, boom. And it kind of makes sense too when you look at the structure of things in his personality, his characteristics, what he wanted control. Obviously, if you had the control back then before it even started, you took over the game. I mean, he was an oil magnet, but he was
Mm-hmm.
the man. He took over the industry. Monopoly, yeah, that wasn't just a game. That was what he did. you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not saying he's a bad guy or he's a good guy and this and that, but you definitely got to take his experiences and you put it in your perspective.
Oh,
Kind of see where I'm
100%.
coming from?
Yeah,
You
I
know.
definitely do. And I mean, I've learned a lot of what to do and what not to do from Rockefeller just by watching him on documentaries, and you can see you can see what like a lot of people are driven by either like wealth, like money in itself, because I think there's a difference between this like straight money and real wealth, and
Right.
then also from the idea of having power. People love to have power for some reason, even though like you have an infinite amount of power internally, and once you understand that, you can actually create impact on other people.
Big
You just
time.
you just need the alignment to do that kind of stuff. It's I spent a lot of time studying like esotericism, and
For sure.
it's all about like studying yourself, understanding that to learn more about the world around you, you have to learn more about yourself.
Right,
And
right. Guaranteed, guaranteed. Because it is a perspective. Yeah, it is your perspective. It's your reality, what you bring. Other people are gonna pop in your
hmm
kind of like that movie. I love that show or that show. Let me say it's a TV series called Key Lock and Key. Lock and
hmm
Key. You would like that because it was interesting. It's a Stephen King's his son, Jonah Hill. And
oh, I love Jonah. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Yo, let's shoot me a DM with the name of it after we're
I
done
will
here, so I
definitely do that.
try
Yeah,
to
because
remember.
that's definitely a great ideology
hmm
and a metaphor for how we can look within our particular minds, what's going on in our mind. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with our thoughts? What's going on within our reflections? You know what I'm saying? That's why I think, don't take me wrong, I think a lot of us, we do too, I think we do little too much. You can only
hmm
meditate for so much. Keep it real with you, tell you kind of get burnt out a little bit, if that
I
makes
agree.
sense. Yeah, even like your training with me, like when I'm doing my training, I work out my upper body, I'm training my legs, but with that being said, I'm not I take a break. Like I usually take a good, you talking rest days, I take rest days, literally take days off. I'm not doing nothing. I might be walking, You know, may do a
Yeah.
little walk here and there, but I'm not doing no exercise. I might do some push-ups. I might do some squats every, couple squats here and there, but it's not like a full edge workout or
Yeah.
training session.
I
So I
agree with
think
that.
we all need within in this culture or in this structure or humanitarian mindset, we definitely need to take breaks.
Hmm.
Just relax, get away from the television, get away from the cell phones, get away from the, you know what I'm saying? Get away from
Yeah.
the technology, detox, take a detox. That's one of the things I enjoy doing. And that's what I'm doing currently. Just detoxing, cleaning the body, cleaning the mind, cleaning the soul, read more books, spiritual orientated books, certain
Hmm.
things that's going to captivate the mind and keep the mind resonating on a higher frequency too.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of that, that's what I love about shrooms, because it allows you to get on that higher frequency. You know what I'm saying? That's what's beautiful. And I think it's structured for the teaching or, a lesson, not recreational. I don't advise using it recreationally, but
Hmm.
I definitely noticed the benefits as far as, having a shaman,
Yeah.
incorporating that
100%.
into some things. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
I see that perspective, and I agree with it. It's I think with everything you need to be intentional, and sometimes to be intentional, you have to have someone help you, and whether it's
Guy.
in the case, yeah, a guide. It's
Yeah.
my friend likes to say he prays for challenges, wisdom, and guidance, and
Right. Right.
it's if you have those three things, I mean, sometimes you have the wisdom and the challenge to overcome, but
Right.
you might need some guidance of how to use that wisdom. And
Yes.
especially for someone my age at 22, I've been told many times that I'm really wise for my age,
You
but
are.
I need guidance in a lot of forms, and that's like I've surrounded myself with a lot of older people. I mean, one of my closest friends right now is 34, and that's just how my life goes. Though it's I don't play the same game as a lot of people.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
also like the idea of life being more like a game than anything. It's like it makes it
Yeah.
more fun. It was
Right.
made
Right. 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 Right.
because
Agree there.
we talked about reincarnation earlier, and I'm actually a really big believer in reincarnation. For me, it's like it's more like choice reincarnation at this point, from my perspective. A lot of people don't believe it to be choice, and I think they're like still on that part of their spiritual journey, and I understand that. I think you get to a certain point where if you learn how to really keep your body alive and you play the game the right way, you can dodge your death like you would dodge a
Right.
punch.
Right. Yeah.
And,
Because what we're seeing it, we see it through blue zones. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
I
blue
am.
zones, they're proving it time and time again in some of these countries. Oh, even some places in California, I got them blue zones, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm a big component of that. I was telling people back then, I want to live to 150,
Yeah. Same
200
here.
if I can. Yeah. So
I'll be happy with 148. I think
right,
that's all I
right,
need. That's all I
right.
need to serve my purpose. And I've always felt like I was more of an observer. Like I don't know if you believe in God. I do, and for me, it's more like I'll sit at the right hand of God, and I'll overwatch everything I've created. And I'd rather make something like Savior Services, and then my mushroom company, and well, I'll use these, and it's like I'll give people a playbook they can refer back to for their
Right,
physical
right.
health, their mental health,
Key,
their
definitely
spiritual
key.
health, and then I'll sit back and I'll just watch everything flourish. Like I don't want to have to be a part of it. I just want to create something that will last for a long time, and then I can step back and let it run on its own. That's like what a real business owner is. That's the entrepreneur at heart is someone who they 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 build something, and then they're so good at building it that they can create something that is self-sustaining.
Yep, that's key thing. Self-sustainability, off the grid systems.
Yeah,
No, but
100%.
at the same time, just building on what you were saying, that blue that 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 playbook,
Yeah, the
creating that
blueprint.
playbook, the blueprint or the manual, so people can actually take off from that, or
Yeah.
and seeing the legacy that was built too. That's another thing I think we fail to realize, especially if you're, I'm a I'm not a parent, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
have that experience. I'm an uncle, you know what I'm saying? But I
Yep.
haven't had that child father dad experience yet. Not
Uh-huh.
looking forward to it, but at the
It will
same
happen.
but at the same time, the legacy is already established. See what I'm saying?
I do.
Already built pillars or building blocks already are established with my legacy. That's one of the things, since I don't have children, so I can't pass on my blood, right? Even though my blood is being transferred through my brothers and, my siblings, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, but at the same time, it's like the legacy is already built with my books, you know what I'm saying? With my coaching, with my
Mm-hmm.
influence, you see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And
I
other
do.
elements with that, the way you live, because that's really the key, the way you live. You're written in the books. You're writing in the book. You're writing in that book, right? The
Mm-hmm.
book of life, if you want to use that as a metaphor, you're writing in
Yeah.
that book of life. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's where it really comes down to like legacy building. What did you do when you was here?
Yeah,
what, what
that's
did
a
you
big
do?
thing. That's a thing I've been
You know,
focused on for a while, and I stopped focusing on what did I do, but now I'm focused on like doing it. Because at first it was what do I want to build, what do I want to leave, and then that's when I created Savior Services, the
right.
Universal Asylum Co. Like I've had all these great I mean just these two main companies. I don't need more than that because I it's like if you spread yourself too thin and I mean, Savior Services is going to turn into the next company. Like
Right,
I just
right.
know, I just understand how big it all is, and
The
it's
seed,
that
you're setting the
with
seeds. Yeah, you're setting
exactly.
the seeds. Yeah, and it's cool that you focusing on those particular projects because that's what you want to do. You want to focus in on those projects. Do the things that you need to do and get the mentorship or those around you who can actually challenge those ideas or those concepts to take it to the next level. That's really the key element. That's one of the things you got to be careful with your network, people who you actually have include because they don't have the vision that you have, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
100%.
keep it real with you. They shouldn't have the vision you have, but they should see at least how can I help you succeed? How can
Yeah,
I help you put that manifestation in process in
yeah,
my hands, in your hands? You know,
uh-huh. Yeah, for me, it's been it's like if either everyone's gonna have their own image or like they're gonna see the world their own way, and your vision might be smaller or bigger than someone else's, and if you have a big vision, you need to find a way to fit other people's smaller visions within yours, and
right, right.
that's how you can if you can make someone else's dreams come true within your dream now you just became the orchestrator in the orchestra. Like you're the
Nice
person you are the person what's the
conductor,
yeah the
conductor.
conductor
That's
exactly
it. Yeah.
and so like you're the person putting everything together and sometimes that is your role that is your part
Right,
and
right, right. Your part to play. Right, right, right. Team
it's
player,
like
team player. Yeah,
exactly. Like you don't need
yeah.
to do a specific part, but you can help other people figure out where they fit in, and that's something I've always been good at. That's something I kind of work with a lot. And I mean, I have a pretty deep knowledge of consciousness and how these like principles of life work, like when it comes to like the big and the small scale. And then like that's more like my niche than anything. And then like everything else I just delegate out. It's like
Right.
I don't want to be doing everything and no
You
one
don't
should.
need to. You don't need to.
That's being an entrepreneur.
Right, right, right. No, great point. Great point on that because that's one of the. I think that's one of the problems with entrepreneurs. One of the biggest mistakes. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we tend to think we can do everything, and some things we can't do. So I would advise that you just focus on sales. Selling the brand or selling
Yeah,
yourself because that's basically what it comes down to, selling yourself, who you are,
exactly.
what you're availability is, how you can actually develop those who want the development, because they got to want it. That's another thing too. People got to really want it. If they really want to learn, they're going to learn it. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not
Yeah, I
here. I'm
do.
here to teach. I'm here to teach, and I'm not here to preach. But at the same time, I want to give you some solid go to, or at least here's the blueprint. Here's the roadmap here. You get on the road, stay on the road. If you go off the trail, you're gonna have some encounters, you're gonna have some negatives, you're gonna have some positive. But at the same time, what do you do? How do you respond to those negative and positive? Is gonna be the key. That's the
Yeah, 100%.
character building, right? That's the
I
character
agree.
building, you know. Because
Yeah,
they do
that's
talk about that too. Statistically, they talk about how the difference between the, you know, the corporate CEO and an entrepreneur. The mindsets are totally different to an extent. There's certain things they have in order, kind of like Elon Musk, for example. Elon
Mhm.
Musk is a creator. He's an idea guy. He's not a CEO. He's an idea guy. It's different from a CEO running a business. You feel what I'm saying? Even though he got other people running the business, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
But his part, he know what his strength is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with that. I just figured out that I didn't have my thing as two tiles the whole time, so it was you as the main screen, and then my thing at the bottom corner. And I'm hoping that the screen recording isn't just gonna be you the whole time in the big picture and me in the small. But it's whatever. I just changed it now, but we're like a little over an hour in. It is what it is. Thank you so much. This has
No, I
been so
appreciate you.
awesome so far. I guess the main thing is, do you have any like final words you wanted to add in? I think we're gonna end it about now. This
Okay.
I've learned a lot from you in this hour. I try to keep them about an hour. Uh, I just think it's a good amount of time to either split it up into like one, you get it in like one decent car ride, or you can split it up into a
Right.
couple small ones.
Right. Right.
So um, yeah, I really well. I feel like we could do another one for your channel
Yeah,
as
we
well.
can. Yeah, we can. Yeah, yeah. We gonna definitely set that up. Probably not this week again, but this following week. The following week
Awesome.
I have open, and we definitely can. We can use the same day. We could do the same day if you have that available. Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's one. It's 2 o'clock there, right? Yeah, 2 o'clock your time. 3 o'clock. No, it's 3 o'clock
yeah,
your time now. 4. Okay,
yeah.
because I'm an hour ahead of you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm an hour
Nice, nice,
ahead.
nice. Yeah, if I would have known, I couldn't have met you before, but on my way over here, I drove through Denver, and I actually stayed with my friend in Colorado Springs for a few days because we got snowed in from that one snowstorm they got. And
Oh wow.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
funny. Like we were passing through that same kind of weekend that you guys got that snowstorm. And it
Oh
just was like
wow.
it just worked out perfectly that my friend hit me up. I think it was that Thursday or Friday, and she was like, "Oh, are you guys still in town?" I said, "Yes." She's like, "Oh, let's meet up." End up meeting her at a cafe. She says, "Oh, do you need someone to spend a night?" Spend a night, and then all of a sudden, one night turned into three because
Wow.
there was no driving anywhere. It's like first snowstorm you guys got in the year, and you apparently you don't get a lot of snow in
No,
Colorado
no, no,
Springs.
they don't. They don't. No, they don't.
So
I've been here a few years, and it's been hit and miss. That 300 days of the year you got sunlight.
that's what I've been
Uh,
told. It's
yeah,
super strange to me. I didn't expect that. Um,
yeah. Well, it's a lot better out there. Well, yeah, because you
yeah,
was in San Diego, right? You was out in San Diego for a minute.
yeah, I was. That's where we went to San Diego and stayed with our friend Sam for a little bit. Shout out to Sam. And yeah, then me and Breno came up to LA, and this is where we've been since.
Okay, okay. Enjoy
Oh
the LA scene because I know LA changing too.
yeah, it is. It's been getting a lot better apparently.
You think
Things were
so?
well,
Okay.
things were I guess back in like 2020, 2021, things were not that
Oh
good
yeah,
here,
yeah.
and within the last 3 years alone, things have gotten a lot better. Yeah, especially in like the areas that I've been. I spent a lot of time
Okay,
over in like the Melrose district, and I
okay,
also
okay.
spend a lot of time in the valley. Like right now, I'm up in Northridge at a cafe. Cafe is called Yonder. Everyone. This place is
Okay.
awesome. Definitely come check it out.
Yeah.
There's a few cafes that I regular at now, but this is one of them. Anyways, yeah. Do you have any final words for the podcast? Any inspiration for the people?
Just like I said, it's just having a more understanding of your mental, how your mental is working, your mental health. Because a lot of us, I think we so distracted. We don't even know how to negotiate. We don't even know how to talk with people anymore, conversate anymore. So I want people to get back into the conversation. Let's get back into conversation and really understand each other more. Because I think with more understanding, we get better results. Better
Yeah,
results on as a collective, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
100%. Well, thank you very much, Haru. Anything you got going on with your business? Where can people find you for coaching or anything of this sorts? Anything cool coming out? You said you got a book you're working on. Shout that out.
Yeah, I got a
Whatever.
book. Yeah. So right now, that just I'm looking to help more men get their fitness back, get their mojo back. Get their mojo back. Get understanding if you want to lose weight, but at the same time, all this caters to with my programs I serve or send out. Let me say it like that, or give
Mm-hmm.
out, or use, or do. They basically focus on coaching, getting an understanding of your mental, emotional, and your physical health. That's what I focus on and help you get focused on, or help you get an understanding of what are the key factors in what you need to do. So I do have a free program, my complimentary program as well, and that's You Are Holistic, and I'll send you the links.
Yeah,
youareholistic.com.
I'll throw them in the description of all the different
Okay.
platforms this goes on to, so people can find you. Um,
And I work, like I said, I work with men who want to get their health together. Literally, you're busy, you crazy busy. I got a program for you. Literally, I got a program for you busy dads, busy entrepreneurs, busy CEOs, whatever, whatever's cater, because this is
nice.
some things I think people want to, you know, you want the results, you can get the results, but you
Hmm.
definitely got to have discipline, and there's got to be
Yeah.
some consistency. That's really what I'm an advocate of. And I don't BS around things. I give it straight up to you. So it is what it is. But you can reach me at youarethegym@gmail.com. For those of you who email me,
Awesome.
DM me, say program.
Yes.
you know.
Awesome. All right. Well, right on. So, thank you all for listening. I really appreciate you coming on, Haru.
Thank you.
And that's about all I got. So, my name is Nick Sarantino. Thank you again, Haru. And this was the Savior Services Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
I can fly.